Welcome to the Time Management Podcast with me, your host, Abigail Barnes. I'm a productivity coach, global speaker, time management author, and award-winning entrepreneur on a mission to share the 888 formula with the world and to remind you that it's your time. Leave it to me to bring you new time management tips, tricks, tools, and strategies, to introduce you to guests, research, and case studies from around the world, and to give you a simple 5-step process you can follow to uplevel your productivity, achieve your goals, and create a life that exceeds your wildest dreams. I'm so excited that you're here, so let's get started. Welcome to the show. This week it's you and me, and we're talking about how to set motivating goals and avoid wasting time. This episode is for you if you've set goals but you fail to achieve them. It's also for you if you're looking back over the last 6 months and wondering what you've actually achieved. And it's definitely for you if you're ready to commit to trying something new in order to actually start achieving what you want from your career, from your business, or from your life. What if you're following somebody else's way of doing things and it's sabotaging your success? It's wasting your time, it's demotivating you, and it is draining your energy. This week on the Time Management Podcast, we're deep diving into all things goal setting, into the science, into the habits, into the methods, and into the things that could be affecting your success. We are going to deep dive further into the human design of goal setting as well. Let's start here. What is goal setting? They say it is the process of writing down what you want to achieve by a certain time. And the act of doing this can make them more realistic and tangible. A study by psychologist Gail Matthews found that people who do so are 20% more likely to achieve them. A goal is a desired outcome that wouldn't otherwise happen without some kind of intervention. Elliot T. Berkman. So when does goal setting go wrong? When there is no clarity about the goal, when there is no motivation, aka the reason for why you want to achieve it, when there is no deadline, and when there is no plan. This seems very, very obvious, and yet how many of us, hand on heart, can actually say that we haven't at some point forgotten to do one of those 4 key things? It was Antoine de Saint-Exupéry who said, "A goal without a plan is just a wish." So here is a question for you. Is the roadblock to your success right now the lack of a way, or is it the lack of a will? Why does goal setting actually even matter? Why is it a conversation, an episode here today? Your goals impact your productivity for 2 reasons. The first is mental clarity, and the second is personal fulfillment. Without clear goals, it's very, very easy to feel lost, overwhelmed, stuck, and then get sucked into the busy work. And worst of all, get sucked into following the dreams of others. How many times have you found yourself doing something, getting influenced, getting enrolled into somebody else's dreams, goals, hopes, aspirations, and wondering how you even got there? Goal setting theory by Locke and Latham in the 1990s showed that specific challenging goals enhanced a person's performance compared to vague or easy goals. A goal is your North Star. It can also be your life purpose, but equally it can just be your next step on the journey. And the origin for this week's podcast episode came from a conversation with somebody who was saying that they had done some things but didn't feel like they had achieved a goal. And the interesting thing about it is that sometimes if we are changing our path in life, we're not fully able to set the goal that might be clear and obvious once we have taken those steps. it might only be once we have more information and data that we are able to set the goals. How to set motivating goals. Research out of the University of Oregon found that the balance between specific and challenging and achievable is the key to goal achievement success. The goals have to be very, very specific, balanced with achievable. If you set a specific goal, but you don't feel personally like it is achievable for you, you are not going to achieve it, or you are going to struggle to achieve it. If it's slightly challenging, it's going to keep you more motivated than something where maybe one day you even doubt if you can actually do it. And so if you are changing your path, taking the steps on the new path might be your first goal before you have clarity about what your next goal is. I know a lot of people I'm having conversations with right now are reconsidering their careers, reconsidering their relationships, reconsidering their location, reconsidering why they are even here and what it is that they want to do with their life. This is all great, but these are all big things. The only way to feel motivated and inspired on a daily basis is to break these big things down into small, achievable steps. How can you set goals that matter and goals that motivate? Let's start with the Eisenhower matrix to help you identify what matters. This matrix helps you to identify and prioritize your to-do list. The tasks that are on most people's to-do lists, some of them are moving the needle and some of them are just busy work. The next is the SMART goal method. Perhaps you have heard of this or you use this already. This is making your goals specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And then finally, we've got the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle, which I'm sure you've heard of before, but please indulge me. 20% of the activities you are doing on a daily basis are creating 80% of your results. Hear that again. 20% of what you're doing every single day is creating 80% of your results, which means that 80% of the things you are also doing are a waste of time. Now, yes, they may need to be done, but maybe they don't need to be done today, and maybe they don't need to be done by you. So when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to motivation, it is so important to understand what needs to get done, when it needs to get done by, and whether it actually needs to get done by you. Because it may be that some of these goals that you have are quite simply a waste of your time and your energy. Check out episode 39 of the podcast if you haven't already, Efficiency versus Effectiveness. This is where we talk about how to play the productivity game. Let's talk about the science of goal setting in 4 key areas. So we've got the work of Locke and Latham, their goal setting theory that they were working on in the 1990s. This theory demonstrates that people who set specific challenging goals perform better than those who set vague or easy goals. Their work suggests that if you set your goals around their 5 key principles, you are more likely to achieve them and to achieve them successfully. These principles are clarity, challenge, commitment, feedback, and task complexity. And then next, under this science section, we have got the Pareto principle that we just mentioned before. Understand that the 20% of activities are getting you 80% of the results. What activities are wasting your time? Third, we have a book by BJ Fogg called Tiny Habits. And in this book, he encourages the reader to start small, to start with habits that you can then build upon day by day by day by day by day. Celebrate the small wins, and this will help you to avoid perfectionism. The small, consistent, daily actions. Habit stack over time, which then lead to the bigger results, which is also supported by Atomic Habits by James Clear, where he builds on this thesis and talks about the activities that we need to embrace if we want to create good habits and break the bad ones. His framework is called the 4 laws of behavior change, and he says we need to make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Conversely, he says to break bad habits, we need to do the actual opposite. We need to make them invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. By breaking our goals down into smaller milestones, it can lead to greater success longer term. This approach is essential for busy professionals and entrepreneurs who can often struggle with balancing their long-term goals against those immediate demands, aka the daily workload. So how can you keep yourself motivated and inspired when you went into work knowing what you wanted to do, but your email has given you things that you need to do? And this is where that recommendation by BJ Fogg comes in so usefully. If we have broken everything down into such small steps, even though our inbox might have taken over our entire day, we can still take one small, tiny step forward, which is then when the neuroscience of goal setting starts to kick in. Let's talk about 4 things under the neuroscience of goal setting. Let's talk about the neuroscience of dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter in the brain. It is released when we make progress towards a goal, which helps to reinforce our motivation. The brain's reward system is why breaking larger goals into smaller steps is so effective. Goals activate the brain's dopamine system, which rewards us and helps us make progress towards those goals. The next thing to consider under the science of goal setting is neuroplasticity. Research out of the University of California found that goal-orientated individuals activate neural pathways that enhance focus and drive neurons that wire together, and create new pathways in our brains. The act of repetition is rewiring our brains. It is building a brain muscle. Like we go to the gym to exercise our muscles, the act of repetition is building our brain muscle. It's building the neuro pathway. And this neuro pathway will help us to then do more of what it is that we want. And then finally, we've got visualization techniques. This has a psychological impact on us. It activates something called the RAS system, which stands for the reticular activating system in the brain that filters information based on what we focus on. So if we visualize our success, our brain is going to help us to identify opportunities to achieve that goal. If we wanted to buy a new red car, when we go out, we are going to see more red cars. Yellow cars, we see more yellow cars. We wanted to buy a new blue sofa, we would start to see blue sofas everywhere, where before we hadn't, because our brain has now been programmed to look for what it is that we want to achieve. I love the fact that we can actually make our brains work for us. Equally, our brains can sabotage us. That we have talked about that in previous episodes, but this is how we can make our brain work for us, by focusing on what we want to achieve and taking daily, consistent, small steps, releasing that dopamine, helping ourselves to feel in the motion towards achieving what it is that we want. Here's some common reasons why people fail to achieve their goals. Some of them you might actually resonate with. Depending on where you're listening to this episode, take a screen grab and let us know what from this episode is resonating with you. If you are listening on YouTube, leave a comment. Perhaps it is number 1, lack of clarity and specificity. Maybe your goals are wishy-washy, such as I want to be more productive, I want to get promoted, I want to get a pay rise, I want 3 new clients, I want to lose weight, I want to have a relationship, I want to improve my relationship, I want to move house, I want to get more sleep. These goals are not actionable because they are too broad. They might even feel unrealistic. If they were something like, I want to get task A done in 3 hours, I want to be recognized for XXX, I want to get paid 5% more by X. I want 3 new clients by Y. I want to lose X number of pounds by a certain date. I will research houses in a certain area. I will go to bed at X time. The specificity there makes us way, way, way more likely to get on board with those goals and to achieve them. We've already talked about the SMART goal method. If your goals are not specific, clear, measurable, etc., the outcome is going to be unlikely. Overwhelm can lead to a lack of procrastination. We might not have prioritized our goals in the most ideal way, which can then lead to burnout. Busy professionals and entrepreneurs often try to do too much, which then leads to exhaustion and reduced performance. We may not have broken those goals down into small enough, achievable tasks or steps as per the work of James Clear and BJ Fogg that we discussed earlier. We may not be tracking our progress. This can be another big thing for people when it comes to goal success. You might have actually achieved more than you realize. So you may be demotivated for no good reason, and or you may not be doing what it was that you said you were going to be doing. But how would you know if you're not tracking things? Research shows that regularly reviewing our progress either daily or weekly is most likely to increase our chances of achieving those goals. Your goal achievement might be affected by a fear of failure. You might find yourself avoiding setting ambitious goals due to a fear that you won't achieve them, which could lead to self-sabotage. You may find that it is a lack of accountability that's the reason why you're not achieving your goals. Without external accountability, people often lose motivation and their progress wanes over time. And our solution for people who actually want to achieve their goals is our brand new training, the 30-day success plan, which is launching on the 19th of October. This plan is going to be a combination of our 5-step reset formula, goal setting training, group accountability, and progress tracking. Cannot wait to tell you more about it. Save the date. Some previous episodes for you to refer to are episode 25, Imposter Syndrome, the big secret nobody is telling you. Episode 33 are your thoughts sabotaging your time management, removing those negative thoughts. Episode 37 is procrastination, a trauma response. And you might want to check out episode 41, is your mindset killing your productivity? This is about growth mindset and fixed mindset. And then finally, as always, episode 15, where's all my time going? One of the big things that comes up when we talk about time management and goal setting is the excuse, I don't have enough time. You have enough time. Something is stealing that time, and or what you actually want to do isn't exciting enough for you to stop doing other things. That might sound a bit confrontational, but play this scenario out in your head. If somebody was going to give you money to stop doing something and start doing something else, I'm sure you would consider it. So audit your time for 7 days. You will find out where all your time is going. And from there, you can start making changes and make new decisions. Your time management is the direct reflection of your self-worth. Finally, to wrap up this episode today, let's talk about human design and goal setting. How your human design can help you to set your goals is by understanding how you can leverage the energy that comes from your design. There are 5 different types in human design. Every type uses energy in a different way. 70% of the population is a generator or a manifesting generator. Your goals must excite you. And if they do, you'll be able to tap into an endless flow of energy to complete them. 20% of people are projectors. Your energy is not consistent, so you'll need to prioritize your actions and take regular breaks. 9% of people are manifestors. Your goals are not always for you, so you'll need to ask for help from others to complete them and to budget your energy. And then 1% of people are reflectors. Find a supportive environment and take your time and focus on the goals that really matter to you. Some questions to consider when it comes to choosing your goals, whatever your type is. What do you want to accomplish? How do you want to feel when you are working on your goals? How do you want to feel when you've achieved your goals? And there are 9 centers in human design, and depending on your design will depend on which centers are defined or undefined, that is, which are open and which are closed. And why this matters is because this will also affect your attention and your energy, because it's really about the habits versus the goals and what you can do consistently, what or who you are committed to becoming, and how you feel matters on your way to your goal. Manifesting generators require expansion into different areas before they finally come together. Generators require consistent action towards mastery. Projectors are here to find their own way of doing it, and productivity is very unique to them and may look like creating a new way of doing it altogether. And reflectors are also here to do it their way. When it comes to goal achievement, we also need to consider our heart or our ego center and how this can help us, whether it's defined or undefined. 37% of the population has it defined. And if your ego center is defined, you must really want to achieve the goal in order to access that energy to do so. When it comes to visualizing, I want you to remember that 2 to 5% of the population can't see pictures in their head. And if that's you, then you will need to visualize in the way that works for you. And if you're new to human design, then definitely check out episode 24. And if you want to know more, check out my brand new Introduction to Your Human Design sessions. We will leave the link in the show notes. There are limited sessions that you can book with me every month to explain your design, what it means, and how you can use it. Let me know if you want an episode on this too. To wrap up the conversation today, in this episode, we talked about traditional goal setting tips and strategies for prioritizing your tasks, creating meaningful, smart goals, breaking them down into daily habits, and how you can track them for success. We also talked about how you can use your human design to start looking at your goal setting and your energy management. What are you taking away from this episode today? Take a screen grab of this episode and share your declarations on social media, or leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. And don't forget to tag us in your posts. All the links for our social media are in the show notes. To summarize the homework for this week, number 1, identify your goals, whether they are for your career, your business, or your life. Number 2, get specific about what you want to achieve and why. Number 3, audit your time for 7 days. The link for how to do that is in the show notes. Number 4, save the date for the 19th of October when we will be celebrating the 1-year birthday of the podcast, as well as my own birthday. And then number 5, on that day, we will also be launching this brand new program, the 30-day success plan. I cannot wait to tell you more. And as we're wrapping up this episode, please, if you're loving them, leave reviews, share the podcast with your friends, leave a comment on social media or wherever you're listening. All of these things really do matter. If you've got a question, you can reach out to us on social media. So until next time, my friend, stay safe, stay well, and remember, it really is your time. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. If you loved what you heard, be sure to let me know by leaving a review so I can keep the good stuff coming. Come and say hi on Instagram at Success by Design Training, or visit my website successbydesigntraining.com, or connect with me on LinkedIn. Just search Abigail Barnes. Until next time, don't forget, you are amazing and it's your time.